Next is we have to now build a database, a single table database called student with 6 columns, which are the student number, first name, middle name, last name, his mail, and date of birth. So let's do that. So for this lesson, I will be using MySQL Workbench. So let's now create a schema. Let's name it iTech222, then apply. Okay, so now that we have a folder, I mean a database, let's now create a table. So create table, let's name that student, then student number, varchar, first name, middle name, last name, is male for the sex, then the date of birth. Let's check this to not null, then click apply. Okay, we now have a student table. Next we are going to create a controller. So we have to go inside the app folder, then controllers, and create a new PHP file named student. So let's now open Visual Studio Code. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is create a student controller. We can just copy the home controller, then paste, then rename this to student. And the class name is the file name, so student, save, and open browser. Then let's type the controller name, which is student, but it still displays the welcome home view. So go back to the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, this is just an explanation, so let's do that. Open again Visual Studio Code. So note that this welcome message is stored inside the view or views folder. This is the controller, the model, and the view. So we are calling from the view, then the file name is welcome message. So it's welcome underscore message. Please note that the file name extension is not included. Okay, next. Okay, just more explanation. So the controller class is also the file name. Then this is the controller method, and inside the parentheses are arguments. So if you're going to pass arguments, then we have to add the arguments or the parameters. So if we are calling our CodeIgniter web page, we call http:// then the domain name or localhost if we are testing, or it can be cspc.edu.ph or other DNS. Then after the slash, it's the controller class. So if our class name is student, then you have to type in student. Then after the next slash will be the controller method. By default, it is index. Then the next are the arguments. So in our case, it's http://. Our DNS is localhost. Controller is itech222. Then, our folder name is itech222. Then, the controller class name is student. So if no controller method is given, the default will be the index method. So in our example, we are calling the student class, and we have not given a method name, so the default is the index method. Okay, next. So the controller is what will become the center of every request to your web application. So in every technical CodeIgniter discussions, it may be referred to as the super object. And like any PHP class, you refer to it within your controllers as this. So referring to this is how you will load libraries, views, and generally command the framework. Next, let's first create a simple header and footer template. And inside the app and views folder, let's create a folder named template because all the views should be separated in folders. And since views can be a fragment of a header or a footer, let's now create a templates folder. So in our root folder, open app, views, then create a new folder. Okay, new folder named template. Then inside the template, we will create two PHP files, which are the header and the footer. Let's do that in Visual Studio Code. Okay, here in Visual Studio Code, you now have the template folder. Right click, new file, then header.php, and let's create a new one, another one, footer.php. Okay, let's touch this next. So inside header.php, I will have this part of the code, and the footer will be the footer. So let's first create that here in header.php. So doc type is HTML. Let's do the close tag, zoom in, the head, the body, it's the proper indentation, then title will be, okay, will be the title, I take 222, then inside the body we have a header name header. Okay, header, then we have below copyright. Copyright symbol, then 2022. So let's first do, I open the student controller. Then instead of calling welcome message, since we are calling the view, then our header and footer is inside the template folder. So let's first type template, then header. Note again that we are not including the file name extension. So save, refresh. We now have, we are now displaying the header. Let's open again this one. Let's separate this into two fragments, which are the header and the footer. Then let's call the header. The header will display the upper portion of our HTML page. Then the footer will display the bottom portion. So let's call this 2 times. Footer. Oh no, let's not return. Let's echo. Because if we do return, in line 9, it will just return the header, but it will not go to the next line of code. So let's just print those, echo. Okay. So that's it. We have two fragments of our HTML page, which are separated in the header and the footer. Okay, next. Okay, we already did that. Only the folder and or the PHP file should be the parameter inside the view function. So note that inside the view function, we have the template folder, then the last one is the PHP file, which is the header and the footer. Okay, next, displays that. Okay, so now we have to pass data from the controller to the view. So to pass data, we need to store it inside an associative array. So in this case, the associative array will be named data, and then pass it as a second parameter of the view function. So here, the first parameter of the view function is the PHP file. Then next one will be the data. So let's open. Okay, data. Then the array name, associative array name or index name is title. Then I take 222 title. Then for this to be accessed in header, that our header view, you have to pass this in the header view. Okay, then for us to access that this data, we call the value or the key, which is title. Then print that here, echo title. PHP file shows header, but if we change this, this is the title. If we add another ones, let's say the header, so this is the new header, and we can use this inside the view using the key. which is the header. So print that header, refresh the page. So here it is. This is now the new header. Okay, next. Okay, to access past data inside the view, from the controller, the key of the associative array will be used inside the view. We don't have to write data, then the key title.